Pokémon Winds and Waves will be very controversial. So yesterday we got the new trailer for Pokémon Winds and Waves, and it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, we got the whole Pokemon showcase where there was a couple other announcements. A lot of people were expecting the new Pokemon, the Gen 10 announcement, to be in a Nintendo Direct, but obviously that didn't happen. So there's a lot of interesting things to go over here. One being that it's not coming in 2026 like we all thought. Like, everyone was predicting like October, November of 2026, but it's actually going to be coming in 2027. So that's not the 30th anniversary anymore. They're doing other stuff for the 30th anniversary, but it will come out at some point next year. And another big one that I expected, but I saw some people were not expecting, is that it will only be on Nintendo Switch 2. No original Nintendo Switch version of this, and I'm happy about that just because the Switch is old at this point. Like, next year it's literally turning 10 years old. Like, I love the Switch, but it's time to move on. And I'm glad that Nintendo and Game Freak are pretty quickly moving on to the Switch 2 fully. Like, we're already getting most games on the Switch 2 instead of the original Switch, and it hasn't even been out a year yet. Like, we're in year 6 of the PS5 and Xbox Series X, and now we're finally starting to leave the last generation behind. If this was Sony and Microsoft, Pokemon games would be releasing on the original Switch for like the next 5 years or so. So good on them for that. That actually allows us to be a full generational leap. So the graphics are another thing that have come up. Is this the best looking game ever? No, and we can't really judge it yet. Like, we haven't seen much, but it does look significantly better than previous Pokemon games. It doesn't need to have the best graphics of all time, but when it's on like modern hardware like this, like something like Pokemon Legends EA, especially the Switch 2 version, like, that's just not acceptable. I know graphics don't make or break a game, but it also should at least look modern and at least look nice, and Legends EA look pretty atrocious. It legitimately looks like it's a game that could have came out like 2 generations ago, maybe even more, honestly. Winds and Waves does look significantly better. There's a lot more I want to talk about, but I said in the beginning that this is going to be controversial, and it's because we all know the price is going to be like the huge talking point for this game for a while. So let's get this out of the way now. How much are these games going to cost? So we don't have an official answer, but if you're expecting these to be $60 each, I can't see them being that low when every single Nintendo Switch 2 game from Nintendo has been at least $70. So if you want to get both, at minimum, you're looking at $140. And with Pokemon games, they very rarely go down in price significantly. They actually will tend to go up in price over time. So there's not really going to be many ways to get this cheaper. And I said at minimum, it's probably going to be $140. At maximum, it's going to be like $160, and maybe even more if there's DLC, like with Legends EA. But $80 per game with 2 of them, that would be a very tough pill to swallow for a lot of people. Like, that's just a lot of money for one game. And then you're expected to get 2 games for that price. Like, that's a big commitment. So if these games are priced at $70, I think there's not going to be as much pushback against it. Like, people are expecting $70 games. If they go the $80 route, it's just going to be complete pandemonium. Like, think about all the controversy with Fire Red Leaf Green prices, which has started to die down more. Like, it's going to be significantly worse for that. If it's $70, I mean, there's going to be plenty of people who push back against that, but it won't be nearly as severe if they charge $80. So let me know in the comments, do you think it's going to be $70 or $80? And do you think there's going to be some special edition maybe that comes with like the DLC? When it goes up in price this much, where you're expected to get 2 $70, $80 games, if they at least have something where, let's say you get a package with it that comes with a DLC or something where you don't have to pay extra, or maybe you get like $10 off if you buy them together in a bundle, like something like that would at least get some goodwill towards them. But anyway, enough about the price for now. The gameplay looks a lot different here. So obviously you're going to be able to go underwater, just traversing the water. Something that I don't believe we've seen in a Pokemon game, at least going underwater, I mean. Could be wrong, though. I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan, so I may have missed something. Environmental obstacles, like storms, nature itself. We're probably going to have many more traversal mechanics, and it does seem to be more immersive, like, to explore than simply running around. So Pokemon games have kind of had that open world design before, like, in the Switch generation. I don't know how much we're going to see it here. It looks like it may be continuing that, but we saw very little gameplay. So the starters are Brout, Pombon, and Gekka. And seeing reactions already, Pombon seems to be the most popular by far. The other two I haven't seen as many people talk about. We saw some Vacation Pikachu variants, and that's a fun addition to the game. It's probably not going to be that huge or anything, like it's not going to be game changing, but something nice to have. There's a lot of rumors like, are legendary Pokemon going to be controlling the weather? Are there going to be survival elements? There's a lot of comparisons to Hoenn. I actually saw IGN post something saying like too much water, and the Pokemon Twitter account actually responded to it saying that. So that was kind of funny. There's a lot to theorize about, and as someone who's not the biggest Pokemon expert, I'm probably not the one to be making all these theories, but I do want to talk more about the reaction side of it the expectations. So expectations are super high because the Nintendo Switch Pokemon games were very disappointing to a lot of people. Like, there was a huge dip in quality from the 3DS games, and there were some outright disasters, if we're being honest. Like the Diamond and Pearl remakes were complete disasters. Scarlet and Violet weren't very popular, and it's been 5 years since Scarlet and Violet, or when that comes out, it's going to be 5 years since Scarlet and Violet. So Pokemon fans are very hyped up for a new Pokemon game, a next-gen Pokemon game, looking for something that's actually not going to be disappointing, and it's been a long time since many Pokemon fans were happy. So utilizing the Switch 2 to have improved graphics, to have improved mechanics, to try out some new ideas that are going to be incredibly important, more than they've been in a while, just because it's been quite some time since Scarlet and Violet, and because it's just been a decade now, or decade plus, just disappointment. Like, a lot of people are very disappointed by the 3DS era, so that's even longer for those people who are looking for a masterpiece of a Pokemon game. So I've seen very mixed reactions to this. This is also part of why I said it's going to be controversial, because people are very split on the graphics. I see some people really liking them. I see some people saying they look like GameCube graphics. And a lot of people are very skeptical because it's been so long to them since Game Freak has made a good Pokemon game. Or not just a good Pokemon game, but like a great Pokemon game, I should say. Overall, I would say it's been pretty positive. It is just one trailer, so I'm sure that we'll get some more news probably later in the year. Usually Pokemon games release at the end of the year, but since this was announced for 2027, maybe we'll see it early on next year, because then otherwise they're announcing it almost 2 years in advance, which is extremely uncommon for Pokemon. But who knows, honestly. I've seen a lot of discussion so far say that this game won't be worth the price, and that's kind of what they're using to discredit the game. And listen, I agree that the price is something to be concerned about whenever we get that. But for now, let's just focus on the game itself, what it looks like, what we think it's going to be like, and get to the price discussion, or at least use the price as a factor in any criticism here. Like, once we actually get the price, like, it's fine to talk about and theorize about that, but saying I won't be buying this because this game is $80 each and it's not going to be worth it, that may be true, but I think some people are also watching these trailers or watching any Nintendo game trailer and just looking for a reason to complain. And by that I mean when people focus their argument more on price when we don't actually know the price, and don't actually focus on the game itself. Because usually what I do when I see Nintendo announce something, I'll look at the game first and say this game looks cool or this game doesn't look good, and then get to the price after. Like something like Mario Tennis Fever, I think it looks like a fun game. Don't think it's worth the price tag. I think it's important to just look at the game first. Like, give the game a chance first before you completely make up your mind over it, before you completely write it off. I haven't played a Pokemon game in some time. Like, it's not my favorite series. Omega Ruby is my favorite in the series. It actually made me think I was going to be a huge Pokemon fan when I played it on the 3DS, but I couldn't get huge into the series, and this has not been a great time to get into the series on the Nintendo Switch. So if this comes out and a lot of my friends who are Pokemon fans tell me that it's worth playing, even as someone who's not the biggest Pokemon fan, I'd definitely be open to giving this game a shot. I think it looks interesting so far. I don't think I'll buy both copies of it because I just don't think that's going to be worth it for me personally. And I think there's going to be things that we can legitimately criticize, whether they do decide to charge $80 each, whether they have launched a DLC. If they do something like that, then by all means criticize them. But for now, I'm just saying let's hold back and just wait for more information to come out before we make like these definitive statements about them. Because that's when it seems like you're going to complain no matter what, when your first thought isn't something about the game itself. But I do just have to say that people are definitely justified in yearning for the days of old when you get both Pokemon games for $80, and now that might be the price of one. So those feelings also are justified, but again, obviously it is a home console now, so prices are simply higher. And if I did have to make a prediction, I can't even make a prediction, honestly, because I want to say $80 each, but I don't know, I could see it being $72. But anyway, those are just my thoughts, some of the info about Pokemon Winds and Waves. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of controversy in the comments here. If a lot of people see this video, there'll be people who will be defending any price, people who will be acting like the way I mentioned in this video, where they're already writing the game off for the price. But let's just have honest discussions about the game itself now. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.